Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Starladder Season 8. We're here with Day 8 coming at you live. We've got 5 matches coming up today. Flipside Tactics RU facing off against Virtus Pro for game number 1 of the day. I'm Zyori, not slated to solo cast today. I'm going to be joined once again by Merlini. Merlini, my friend, how are you this morning?
Going?
Hello, check.
Hello?
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. How are you, buddy?
Pretty good. And yourself?
Pretty solid. Just coming off a hot interview with the Statsman Bruno, so feeling pretty good today, Merlini. Not gonna lie, but alas, we've got our draft unfolding before us, and some interesting stuff happening here. Shadow Shaman, second picked by Flipside. That is a rarity here.
There's been some weird drafts going on in the CIS scene. VP, I think, have first picked Doom like in their last 3 or 4 games, or at least the ones that I've seen. So. I think you were there for one of them too.
Yep, they did it yesterday as well. I saw Virtus Pro at least one game yesterday, and they went with the Doom. So they've been holding pretty steady here. This is the first time I think I've casted Virtus Pro and not seen them first or second pick Doom. So this is kind of interesting. But Bristleback going to get a showing here as well.
10 seconds remaining.
Yep, and Shadow Shaman may be reminiscent of a push strat. Not sure yet. Yep. We don't really know what to expect. It's a little bit too early in the draft. VP banning out some of the push heroes that we see. Pugna banned out as well as Nature's Prophet. Those are pretty annoying to deal with. But Shadow Shaman very early. I mean, they could pick a dupe this game and it will work really well for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. They are banning out those pushing heroes. We did actually get to see a Pugna yesterday as well, and sort of backfired a little bit, but still showing that Pugna does have some potential for a pickup here. So with Virtus Pro grabbing Bristleback in that first picking cluster, the second pick, any thoughts about what Flipside should be afraid of here in terms of ban? So far it looks pretty standard. They are going to go ahead and ban out the Doom, so I think that's a smart choice. But
Bristle's a pretty standard thing. It's not like you're scared of the Bristleback. It's not like you're scared of a minus armor strat because it's not incredibly potent, and Bristle just fits in a wide variety of strategies. I wouldn't really say you need to pick or counter pick him.
Okay, interesting. So we'll see what they go for. I'm going to be curious to see if Flipside opt for really a kind of an aggressive pushing strat, or if this is just a casual Shadow Shaman. You know, some crowd control, get a little bit of pushing power, but just kind of a regular old support.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be a casual Shadow Shaman. We have no idea. I think there's a lot. There's like Veg is still in the pool. Who else is still in the pool? I mean, that's definitely the best support. Crystal Maiden already picked up Venomancer. Yeah, Lion is all right. He's not that great at dealing with Bristleback though. So I think that if you pick supports, you just have to be a little bit careful about what you pick with Bristle, because you need damage.
Did you just say Visage? Because that's the one that comes to mind for me here.
Yeah, Visage is definitely the one that should be taken.
Yeah. So Abaddon CM going to work out okay here for Virtus Pro. Lich also still in the pool, if Flipside want to go that route. Though yesterday we saw a match with Lich and Abaddon on the same team and ended up being just such a disaster. Two very passive kind of supports, no real crowd control, and I don't know. It seems it's best to kind of try and balance the Abaddon with someone that has a little bit more of a crowd control kind of damage output. I like the Abaddon Crystal Maiden pairing instead of something kind of a double passive support. Can definitely be, well, more of a bane than a boon, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, I think the Abaddon pickup is really good for VP, just because Shadow Shaman has a really long disables, and you can't disable the Abaddon. If you sit there channeling a Shackle on Abaddon, you're going to lose the fight, most likely. I mean, if it's a team fight, of course. Clinks early by Flipside, pretty interesting. They do need a heavy damage dealer and a heavy damage dealer that isn't a glass cannon too, because you don't want to kill yourself killing the Bristleback. So Clinks is a pretty good pickup for them, and it also does fit in with like sort of a push sort of thing that they're going for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to ask you something here, Merlini, because it came up yesterday when I was solo casting. Abaddon versus Doom. Does one counter the other? Would you be weary of picking one into the other?
I wouldn't want to pick a Doom into Abaddon. It's not that big of a deal though, because if you Doom somebody and Abaddon has to like devote his Miscoil as well as his Aphotic Shield, maybe like 2 of each to saving the hero, then you're effectively taking 2 heroes out of the fight. So it's not that bad. It just depends on how much burst you have though. You need a lot of burst if you're gonna run a Doom versus an Abaddon, and You can pick Abaddon into a Doom too. It's not really that bad. It's mostly depends on other picks too.
Okay.
If you have like you need like a tankier hero though. If it's like a Puck, he's going to be useless versus Doom.
Yeah, it came up yesterday where someone picked an Abaddon into the Doom, and I thought that was interesting because the Doom ult cuts through borrowed time. That is, I took that as sort of a pretty solid counter against the Abaddon, though generally speaking, he's not going to be the target of choice for Doom. So I guess it's all about trade-offs in that kind of a matchup. But just curious, Alchemist going to be picked up here for Flipside RU to go with their Klink, Shadow Shaman, and Clockwork. Probably, what do you think? Is that going to be a support Alchemist? A little hard to say, I guess. I
believe so. I think it's hard to say right now, but at the same time, like they need a lot of farm. Shadow Shaman, he needs items, or like if he's mid, he's gonna need items, or else he's gonna feed. But it's too early to tell.
Yeah, and, you know, they very well could put Klink's mid, throw Alchemist in that one position, just grab another support here, possibly the Visage, who is still on the field, to go with the Shadow Shaman, or they could grab a hard carry. Lifestealer also in the pool, and could set up kind of a tri-lane with Alchemist as a support. Still a lot of options here. And I think regardless, some scary heroes going to get through. I can't believe Visage and Lifestealer are going to make it into final ban territory here. Yeah,
that's pretty ridiculous. But as we've seen before, VP likes their own draft. Flipside, they've been on a losing streak lately, so I don't have too much faith in their draft, but I mean, VP was on a losing streak too, and they kind of turned things around yesterday. So both these teams a little bit inconsistent. I can see that Flipside is like close to being a good team, but right now it's just not there yet. But maybe they'll surprise us.
I think both these teams are kind of in that similar category of they have the skills, they have the raw talent, but they've yet to really hit their stride with this roster, with the communication and how they want to handle themselves in game. We've definitely seen some kind of back and forth from both these sides. And the two scary heroes that we mentioned, not going to be the final bans here. Venge going to be that final ban for Virtus Pro, and OD going to be the final ban coming out for Flipside. So the OD definitely a scary one as well. But we'll see what Virtus Pro want to grab right here. They do have their two supports. They've got a Bristleback Weaver. Hard to say how they want to lane this. I mean, I guess it could be a 2-1-2, Crystal Maiden, Bristleback, a Abaddon Weaver, and then they just need to grab their mid hero here. And we'll see what they want.
Yeah, Vengeful Spirit banned out. I don't really think they should be scared of Vengeful Spirit. Maybe they're really scared of a lot of early aggression from Flipside because they don't really have the game. Yeah, they don't really have that great early game. Like CM's okay, but Bristleback, Abaddon, Weaver all really need levels.
Yeah. Yeah, but so that is a hell of a lot of crowd control and burst damage in those first kind of pre-6 levels between Alchemist, Shadow Shaman, and Venge. So I see where they're coming from, but I mean, yeah, Visage doesn't have a stun, but I think he's almost scarier than Venge. So I don't know. I would have been tempted to ban him out over the Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, if you can't play the hero though, it's not worth picking him. I don't even know if Flipside has a really good Visage player. And usually, if you are going to pick him, you'll pick him up really early. So maybe like, oh well, they're not going to pick it early, so why do we even need to ban it out? They would have already taken it.
All right, Nyx Assassin will be the final pick for Virtus Pro. We've seen him at kind of an increasing frequency, and mostly up against that Furion matchup. I think last time we casted together, that was sort of the big highlight of Nyx Assassin. Makes that Furion's life living hell when he tries to split push. But obviously he's going to be banned out here, so just going to grab, I guess this is going to be a Nyx mid, and kind of interesting as well, because we've seen that a couple times over the past few days here at Starladder, and it's been working reasonably well. When Nyx Assassin gets that little bit of momentum, he really can play that driving force in the mid game and set up some kills all over the place. So always excited to see Nyx in that driving
He's not terribly great versus Klinks and Alchemist, though. Those aren't like really good kill targets for him. Oh, that's Prophet. Yeah, this is pretty heavy push from Flipside, it looks like, and VP is going to be struggling to defend their towers in the like 10 to 20 minute phase of the game. Their lineup is not well equipped to deal with that at all.
Yeah, absolutely right. There's virtually no big creep clear. Huge amount of AoE. I mean, I guess they've got, you know, the Crystal Nova. They can spam some quills, but no Puck, no Windrunner, nothing like that to clear out those creeps. And, of course, Crobulus and Shadow Shaman, they're not even creep-related pushers there. They've got the Serpent Wards and the Spirits of Exorcism. Wow, this is definitely going to be a little bit difficult for Virtus Pro here. And I guess this is going to end up being a tri-lane with Klink's Alchemist, Shadow Shaman, Crobulus mid, and Clockwork off lane for Flipside. Probably the best I can reason it.
Yeah, it's definitely support. Like yeah, as you said, I don't actually know what their rules are, especially with their stand-in.
Yeah.
But that would be the most predictable thing to do.
Yep. So Death Prophet, talk to us about her a little bit. We've sort of teased her a bit, but haven't really seen her. I don't think we've seen her picked up yet in Starladder Season 8, at least not any of the games that I've had the privilege of casting. What's her deal? Good, bad pick? Do you like her here?
She's good. I think that teams have to kind of play around her. You can't just dump her into every single lineup. She is okay at lane control. She's not the best, but she does have a very spammable AoE spell, which is good for rune control, good for lane control, and good for harassing. But with Bottle Crow, you're most likely not going to get a kill mid, whereas if she gets ganked, she's most likely going to yield a kill, which is why I think that people don't like picking her up. And now that supports have started to rotate a lot, she is not as useful. And if you can't get to that phase where you can group up together, even as like 3 or 4, not necessarily 5, and start taking down towers, then it's not really that useful. Also, if she gets caught in like a hook shot, let's say, by Clockwork, she's extremely useless. And I think she's really good against heroes like Storm Spirit, heroes that like don't really want to get BKB, but if they have to, they will. It slows down their builds a lot, and even if they get BKB, they still have to play extremely careful versus the Exorcism.
Right.
So I think that she is very underrated though. She's only been picked up in like a handful of matches after the buff, and just still a very underrated hero.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. She does have a lot of pushing power, sort of similar to the Pugna, but in my mind, in that solo mid-roll, similar to the Shadow Fiend in the early stages. If she gets that early momentum, maybe gets a kill, gets some freedom in the lane, especially if some rotations come her way, things can be really good if she gets a level up on everyone, can get a fast Yules or a fast Bloodstone, something like that. But if she gets ganked early, no escape mechanism, especially until she gets the ultimate, it's a little bit rough. And if she gets slowed down, she doesn't have that luxury of super fast flash farming like Shadow Fiend does to recover. So definitely some trade-offs there with the Death Prophet pick, but I'm excited to see her. One of my actual personal favorite heroes to play. I like the way she plays, and she also has a big silence. That's one of the things that a lot of people tend to seem to forget about. It's all about the ultimate, but a little bit of utility on that AoE silence can certainly come in handy as well. So we are going to resume, though. Looks like we are going to get into our first game here, and these lanes looking a little bit interesting. Again, I'm in the same boat as you, Merlini. I don't know the players by name and role, but it looks like we're actually going to see a Death Prophet tri-lane instead of her solo mid, so this is kind of a different take. Thoughts about that before we introduce our rosters? Because I've always been told she's a level 6 hero, a totally different presence when you get the ultimate.
She's a level, I would say level 8 hero, not a level 6 hero.
Okay.
She really needs max Crypt Swarm, and she needs 1 level of silence, but at the same time, she doesn't have any mana to cast her spells without a decent amount of level in Witchcraft. So I would say level 8 hero. But yeah, she needs levels. She is terrible in a tri-lane, and they might win it out, but even if they do, they would be much better suited with a different hero. Like level like 1 through 3, she is just atrocious.
Yep. I would agree. I think putting her mid for that solo XP and then Clinks in the tri-lane makes a lot more sense. But again, we'll see how it fares. They may call a rotation if things don't go their way. Let's go ahead and introduce our rosters, though. On our Radiant side, we do have Team Virtus Pro in the bottom. Illidan going to be playing the Bristleback in the solo safe lane, at least to start things off. God going to be in the mid lane, playing on the Nyx Assassin. Up in the top, it will be Light of Heaven, playing on the hard farming Weaver there in the long lane. And then our two supports, Arzark, going to be playing on the Crystal Maiden. Then we've got Jotum there, playing on the Abaddon, the Abaddon. It is quite the hot debate, Merlini. You're an Abaddon guy, I'm an Abaddon guy. It's going to be a rough cast.
I don't know. We can call him Lord of Avernus.
Lord of Avernus? All right, I'll go for that too.
Wow, you say Avernus, I say Avernus. What the hell?
Jesus. Oh, man, we need a moderator here. On our Dire side, we've got Flipside RU down in the bottom lane. One of their stand-ins, the Alchemist, is Sheasley going to be the Alchemist there. Book going to be on the Shadow Shaman, and the Resistance going to be on the Death Prophet in a tri-lane here on the bottom for Flipside. In the mid, Clink's going to be here. That's Yoki, is that right? Yaki? Yoki? Yakwai? Not sure how to say that one.
I'm going to let you struggle.
Yoki, I'm going to let you struggle. Do you know how to say that one?
No.
Okay. Yoki.
I'm just going to be on completely different gears. I'm going to say the Resistance and Shicely. And YOKY, it's an acronym for something.
Very well could be. And of course, we got Enlight up in the top lane here on the Clockwork. But yeah, that one's easy. So it is going to be a 2-on-2 coming out for Virtus Pro, that classic Abaddon Weaver tri-lane. And I'm not sure that I'm getting Dota sounds. Let me turn my sounds back up here. I don't think I'm getting any... Oh, no, there we go. Getting a little bit. It's just quiet. Let me crank up my casual game sound increase there. Sorry about that, folks. Production value. So, all right, 2-1-2 versus a tri-lane. Any thoughts about just the initial startup here? I guess it's, well, sort of a 2-1-2. Crystal Maiden going to be in the jungle now, and JOTM going to rotate to the bottom. So they will break up their strategy a little bit and leave Weaver to his own devices to go up against the solo Clockwork. So any thoughts about this laning, though? We already talked about Crobulus in this tri-lane, but
it's pretty easy to play for both sides. Firstly, VP, don't let Abaddon get caught. If he gets caught, they're dead. Secondly, get Magic 6 on flip side. I mean, as long as you do those two things, it should be fairly easy for both teams to do okay in the lane. VP just needs to survive and not die, and both flip side just needs to... Or yeah, VP just needs to survive and farm up, and Flipside just needs to either go for the Abaddon if he's an easy kill, or we actually see a rotation from Shicely. He has a DD rune, so we may see G take an early spill. This is not a good matchup for Nyx Assassin at all. He really shines versus in heroes, but there's I guess even versus DP, he's not that great. But he's going to go to long way around, and they're going to scout him out with this ward. This is a very costly movement from Shicely, and without a smoke too, it's mostly going to be ineffective.
Yeah, they are going to try to converge on the Weaver up here. Book going to come around the backside, and Light of Heaven playing this...
he definitely saw them.
So cautiously. Yeah, he best have, but there we go. Okay. The ward's going to come down. There's the Shackle, the Acid Spray, the Cogs, the Concoction. This is going to be a first blood Light of Heaven with a big misplay. How did he not see them?
They had vision. I have no idea.
I don't know what he was thinking.
He needs to work on his map awareness, because that was it was just a level 2 alchemist with no boots, just trudging along, and they should have seen that coming a long time ago. I mean, it's kind of on his team too. They can ping out for him and tell him to get back, but I mean, really, that's on Light of Heaven.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one. That was just, I thought that he was just going to play it, a little bit aggressive and then move into the trees, but he must have known a sentry was going to come down. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to harp on it too much. I don't like to make a habit out of picking on mistakes, but definitely a big one. Don't want that Weaver conceding the first blood, who was actually the one that grabbed a Clockwork and it grabbed that last hit. So as we've seen, Clockwork, a hero that if he gets that bit of early momentum, he can really play a driving role, especially if he gets level 6 in a pretty timely manner. So he's off to one hell of a start here, almost level 5. Light of Heaven on a similar experience front, but yeah, Clockwork going to have at least a decent start here to get things kicked off. And in the mid, Nyx Assassin still struggling a little bit, though he has recovered Klink's 20-4 against the 19-0 Nyx Assassin, so at least he's getting some recovery as well. But Light of Heaven, some action may be coming his way once again here, as Book and Shicely are lining it up, it looks like.
They don't have any more sentries, though, so they can't actually kill him unless he gets a cog off.
Yeah, going to be a little rough. Not the best positioning, unfortunately. They don't have great lane control here. And, well, Weaver going to be far enough back. There's going to be a port coming up, though. Why are my game sounds so low? I feel like weird things are happening in my headset. They're at the normal bar volumes, but everything's super quiet.
AA smoked the mid. They're trying to kill Klinks before he gets level 6, but even once he gets level 6, he's unlikely to death pack the creep in the mid lane and just going to swing by to the jungle.
Yeah, Nick's going to grab himself an invisibility rune there at the 4-minute mark, so if they want to set this kill up onto Klinks, now could be a good time. Unfortunately, God, though, not going to be level 6 quite yet, so won't have that extra bit of vendetta damage. Klinks is going to poke forward here. They do have some dust, so they might be able to make this happen.
Oh,
going to blow the dust, but wow, that was not a very well coordinated
They should
attack.
have waited for a frostbite to come up, too, so it's guaranteed. But that was not well coordinated at all. We see a smoke from Flipside. They have a Shadow Shaman and an Alchemist in tow.
Yep. And it looks like now they want to put a little bit of pressure onto God. Again, almost level 6 here. One more creep, and he's going to have the Vendetta. So they're going to, well, not be able to capitalize on that window of opportunity. Perhaps just going to rotate down to the bottom lane. Bristleback is free farming right now, so they may try and put some pressure his way. As they're
running around so much, Flipside. Like, they're losing out on so much gold right now. They have first blood, but it's actually VP who still has a gold lead at 300. But if they kill Illidan here, it'll be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's the port back down, so it is going to be a 3 versus 1. It's going to be Clockwork down there. Shackle to start it off. There's the Cogs. Now Bristleback trying to turn his back, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Book going to back out, going to avoid a quill spray there, and he will be able to survive. Going to be an easy kill there for Flipside. Now going to be 2-0 here at the 6-minute mark, as the hard farming Bristleback does get shut down. A much needed kill as well, as he was leading the way on the net worth chart.
If VP is just not doing a good job of rotating, they have this ward here, but it hasn't actually saved them from a kill. or from the death rather, and they have this ward here, but it wasn't unable to see the rotation from the small neutral camp. So they need to be a little bit better about utilizing their observer wards, whether it's just simply seeing the heroes that are passing by or placing them in places that are going to get vision. But at the same time, Flipside is doing a very good job of ganking, but all being said, they are still very inefficient with their ganks. Gold's still at 0. G with the haste, gonna go mid. I don't think he can get the kill on Yoke here.
Ooh, you looked like
he
you
needs
wanted
to go
do
for
it.
the weak heroes. If he has a haste, he can just kill the Shadow Shaman really easily.
There's a bit of a Courier miss micro there, just hanging out, doing his thing. Courier going to get picked off in the mid lane, but down in the bottom, Bristleback can be able to grab himself a double kill. I did actually miss it while I was looking at the Courier, but he's going to finish off
the... Bristleback trucking people with Abaddon shield on.
Shadow Shaman and Alchemist, the two supports, going to get a first-class ticket back to the grave. It's pretty unfortunate. Now take over the #1 farming chart, and this is where Bristleback can start to shine. We've talked about him quite a bit, and when he gets that bit of early momentum as well, he's scary. And oh, look at that. He's going to get right in Light's face. He's going to get stuck in the cogs. There's going to be a hook shot, and this might be an overcommitment from the Bristleback. At least going to make it a 1-for-1.
Abaddon?
Abaddon just, he's picking cherries down here, man. He was just way too far back, I guess.
Yeah, their teamwork is slightly lackluster. Like, they don't need Crystal Maiden TPing in when they originally went on the Bristleback on with that 3-on-1. They needed the Abaddon there because Crystal Maiden is not going to save him during the cogs. So they need better rotations from them if they want to get through this early game. And VP really needs like a big early game start if they want to defend versus the probably impending push from Flipside. And Flipside, they should get level 6 on Shadow Shaman, which is actually a long time coming before Next Assassin can pick him off too many times and then start grouping up and taking towers, because VP, pretty much all they have to stall is Abaddon plus Bristleback. Just keep shielding and healing Illidan and having him just run in. He does have his Vanguard, but it doesn't work that well in this particular situation. It doesn't work versus Shadow Shaman's Master Print Wards, and it doesn't work versus Exorcism, so not too great there. And Clinks hits really hard with Death Pact too, and Vanguard's good versus small instances of damage many times as opposed to large instances of damage few times.
Interesting. So the Death Prophet ultimate doesn't count as individual damage ticks for physical damage. They're
if you actually hover over Exorcism and alt over it, will specifically say spirit damage isn't reduced by damage block abilities.
Ah, okay. And down in the bottom lane, I caught it all on camera. Clockwork going to get picked off here again. That time, Abaddon going to be nearby to throw him a shield, and that's just going to be an easy kill. Clockwork, not one that can stand toe-to-toe with the Bristleback. And I'm going to do just that, actually. I'm going to mouse. You're right. Not blocked by damage block abilities. Good to know. The more you know, right, Merlini?
Yep. The more you know.
The more you know. So I like the rotation from Flipside to try and get Death Prophet some solo experience.
Resistance
but speaking of the resistance here, yeah, he's going to be in a bit of a sticky wicket there. And he's going to get a first-class ticket back to the grave as well. Alchemist might not be far behind him. They've got plenty of crowd control to finish him off once God gets the Impale cooldown. Is he going to land it, though? That's going to be the real question. Nope, not going to overcommit for it. They have the Abaddon up here, though, so I feel like they have potential to dive that tower and finish off the level 6 Alchemist, but with the ultimate on, it does make things a little bit more difficult to finish him off, so maybe the right call to back up. Going to be 5-3 here as Virtus Pro do take the lead in terms of hero kills and continue their gold lead now upwards of about 3,000. Experience lead to boot around 3,000 as well.
As of right now, the Death Prophet pick and the Shadow Shaman pick are dead picks because they haven't actually done anything with them. And if they want to make use of them, they need to group up within the next 5 minutes. If not, there would have been much better heroes suited for this. Wow, Skyler's Courier died again.
Again.
Wow. That's some lucky finding there by G.
Wow.
And Clinks also went for a Midas too. So I think they're gearing up for the late game, which is not what they should be doing.
And his
with
Midas was on the Courier. Oh, no.
Oh, wow. That is very unfortunate for him.
Oh, no. This is bad news. Bears for Clinks. That is just one of the worst items to be stuck on a dead Courier because you're not going to buy another one and it's going to be down. That's at least, what, 2 rotations that you're going to miss out on? That's really going to hurt Clinks. That was a great pick for VP.
Yep. I mean, Nick Sesson is good if you can pick off chickens, too. That is a lot of gold. 2 chickens deaths, that's 2,000 gold, and that's over half of the... that constitutes over half of the gold lead right now for VP.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that gold graph does seem a little deceptive, but 2 Courier kills in the first 10 minutes is, well, that's one way to skew the graph a little bit into your favor. Here in the mid lane, looks like some possible initiation. Nope, and Lycan to be A-okay here, just taking a little bit of damage. I'm a little bit worried, though, from the perspective of Flipside. They're really giving Illidan a lot of space down here on the Bristleback.
They're just giving VP in general a lot of space, though.
Yeah, he's just farming away. Now Weaver actually going to grab himself a Midas here at the 11-minute mark. So level 8 Weaver, Boots, Ring of Health, and going to grab Hand of Midas. I don't know. I think I need to reset my Dota after this. When I mouse over items,
Resistance
I don't get tooltips
gets
here.
caught out by G.
Yeah, he's going to be in big trouble. Nowhere to go. He's going to try to rotate around himself in circles, but yeah, nowhere to run. This Death Prophet not working out well for him. Got kind of a slow start
And
in
Light
that
getting
tri-lane.
dove on bottom.
Yep. Oh, there it is. And Light going to be able to survive for now. Does use the Battery Assault. Illidan, though, looking like he wants to go back in. There's the Nasally Goo. Does have 3 Quill Stacks already. Going to go back down to 2. And Illidan is going to back out. So still pressuring this Clockwork quite hard. Bristleback does have 4 of the 6 kills on the side of Virtus Pro as well. Scary, scary.
It's nice with Arcane Aura too. I didn't really think about this before, but Bristleback really has mana issues, and if he has to build some in items, whether I mean drums is nice, but if he has to like go for any sort of mana regeneration aside from drums, then it will slow down his tankiness build a lot. And with Arcane Aura, he can just constantly spam Cold Spray and Nasal Goo without a thought in the world. And we actually see Crystal Maiden pick up level 3 Arcane Aura by level 7. A slightly unusual build. Some people like Max Frostbite. Some people only get 1 point in Arcane Aura for that value point. But all in all, still a very good early game for VP. And Flipside, again, they're not grouping up together. Shadow Shaman is still not level 6. Death Prophet has still not taken down any towers. And these are dead picks. And if it goes to like 15 or 16 minutes, the window of opportunity is going to pass. And VP is going to be too strong on heroes like Illidan and possibly even Nyx Assassin too. He almost has his Blink Daggers. So one Blink Initiate if Flipside wants to push and their push is blown wide open.
Down in the bottom lane, Illidan going to get engaged on here. Acid Spray going to come out. The ultimate from the Death Prophet. It should be a pretty easy kill onto the Bristleback, but no, Abaddon going to make it in, going to heal him up a bit. Those quills really starting to add up. Everyone on Flipside dangerously low. They'll finish off the Bristleback with just a couple of hit points to spare. That's where Bristleback starts to get a little bit scary. But alas, Death Prophet going to get her first kill on the board here and going to be 1-2-0, a much-needed kill on the side of Flipside.
Yeah, that was very important because now Shadow Shaman gets his level 6 too. And now the tower push begins. I think they should have done this a little bit earlier, but at least they did group up as 5, and finally their lineup starts to shine, and the push potential is there. Exorcism is down, but without any... oh, they actually scout out G. They have a Sentry Ward. He is going to die too.
Uh-oh, he's going to be in big trouble here. He's going to come in. That'll be Cogs to start things off. Down he goes. Going to be a free kill going the way of Flipside. And look at all of these sentries. They were ready and prepared for that Nyx Assassin to come in. And he did activate that trap card. So that will be the first tower kill of the match as well down in the bottom lane. And actually up in the top, Light of Heaven.
Going to die too.
Yep, going to get a little bit of room to pressure that top tier 1. JOTM going to be stuck in the trees. Resistance trying to find him. The rest of the team sort of scattered about here. And now it could be the Resistance in a little bit of trouble. He's just going to try and port out. No interrupt, and he is going to make it. And I don't think this engage may peter out pretty quickly here as Flipside do head for the hills. And, yeah, that'll be the end of it. So, Death Prophet does survive, but stuck in a little bit of a sticky situation. And even though it was good to get that tower down, as you mentioned, they waited a pretty long time, and now this Weaver has a lot of space. Light of Heaven with some huge recovery farm following that Hand of Midas after his slow start, and he gets himself a tower kill to be tied for #1 on the net worth chart, which is scary for Flipside, I think.
They have a Midas on Crystal Maiden too, so she's going to be able to get like a 4-stab pretty darn fast. Do they have any mech up on Flipside? They need a mech badly on Death Prophet. She's actually going for a point booster into a Bloodstone, but they have a mid-game centric lineup, not a late-game lineup, so I think they need all the items that they can. Medallion, correct build on Alchemist. Look, G gets caught out, but only level 1 Hex on that Shadow Shaman, so he will be able to escape.
Yep. Poor Shadow Shaman, very underleveled here. Haystring going to spawn in the top position, and it looks like there could be, oh god, pardon me, a rotation up to the top. And try and put some pressure on Light of Heaven. Although they're going to have to make sure they have detection. Are there sentries? There is one in the inventory of the Shadow Shaman. So they may have a window of opportunity. Maybe not even trying to pressure the Weaver as much as just take out this top tier 1 tower, because in the bottom lane, Virtus Pro. Blow for blow with the towers, they're going to take out that tier 1, the Exorcism, as well as the wards come down from the Rasta, and this top tier 1 will definitely fall, but still going to be at least a 1-for-1 exchange. Compliments of that bottom push, and now Illidan getting a little bit brave here. And they're going to hop forward. God going to come in. He's going to get sheeped right away. Exorcism still on. I think Virtus Pro need to be a little bit careful here, but perhaps not. They're going to grab the first kill on the Shadow Shaman. Illidan going to stay alive. Compliments of that Abaddon. Now we're going to see the Alchemist in big trouble. Clinks is going to be able to come around the backside. Will pick off the Crystal Maiden. Going to try and grab another kill, but not going to find it, I don't think. He's going to be left all alone here. It is a 1-for-2 exchange to start things off. Now Clockwork going to come in. That'll be the end of JOTM. Going to make it a 2-for-2. Death Prophet going to throw a Crypt Swarm there, but Weaver will finish off the Clockwork, and now Klink's going to be in big trouble. Down he goes. Death Prophet going to hide into the trees. Will be able to make it out. Virtus Pro, though, going to find the better of that exchange. And I think just the fact that Virtus Pro are able to exchange tower for tower here, keeping the count even, is a huge victory in their favor.
Yeah, it was a really big deal. They got the important heroes too. The Klinks is probably the most important hero to kill on Flipside. Death Prophet's slightly important, but after her uses her ultimate, she's not that useful. And Flipside, they still managed to get a tower out of that, so not the end of the world for them. VP is kind of destined to lose a tower every time Exorcism and Mass Serpent Ward are popped in tandem on one tower. So I think that G can actually anticipate ganks instead of farming and then reacting. He can like try and scout them out before they actually group up, because they don't have that much money for sentries. And as you can see, they've been fairly stingy about it until they actually get to the tower. And we see 2 down here and 1 down here, but like right outside, like if they try and pick an engagement over here or like over here in this area too before they push the tower, mid is not the best place for it, because 1 sentry work will pretty much scout you out in the whole river. Ooh, actually, we see a wraparound from G and AA, but they're just warding up. And Flipside doing the most obvious thing, which they should do. Oh yeah, he is looking for that courier.
Third time's a charm is what they say here. But Flipside will group up about the mid lane. They are trying to hit this mid-game stride that we keep talking about. And that is all about pushing those early towers here in this tier 1 in the mid lane. Looks like there is going to be a defense from Virtus Pro. They're not going to let Flipside do what they want here. Hookshot going to come in. Going to be off the mark to start things off. Bristleback again going to be that target of choice. He's got his back turned. Going to start shooting out those quills. The wards come down actually out of tower range. This is really what Virtus Pro are hoping for. Those big cooldowns to get burned for hero kills. That will be the end of the Clockwork as Illidan's able to man up a little bit. Resistance going to burn the ulti maybe a little bit late here. They do want to try and reinitiate, but I think Virtus Pro have already gotten what they came for. Flipside going to be hard pressed to maintain presence in this engage. Not the best use of the Exorcism. God going to come in, going to be able to connect with a nice Impale. Unfortunately, the follow-up not going to be there, and Nyx Assassin will get turned around on. Resistance now doing a lot of damage out towards Arzart. Going to get a little bit of support from the Abaddon. Off to the side here, though. Klinks and Bristleback starting to go toe-to-toe a little bit, and Crystal Maiden is eventually going to fall. Light of Heaven going to be able to Shikuchi out, and that'll be the end of the Exorcism. So now the tower going to be kind of a slow push. Klink's going to be in some trouble here. Virtus Pro trying to find an opportunity to get back in this fight. It's sort of chaotic on both sides. Alchemist going to heal up a little bit, compliments of that ulti, but now Boot going to be in big trouble. He's going to fall to the wrath of the Bristleback. Was there a buyback from Nyx Assassin right there? I believe there was. Yep, he's going to buy back, as did the Crystal Maiden. So 2 buybacks coming out of Virtus Pro. They do hold the tower and force those ultis to be burned, and I think at this point, any minute that they delay these incoming pushes, a success on their front as long as they can break even.
Yeah, VP overextended. They try to take the fight like over here, which is definitely not what you should do, especially fighting into Death Prophet's Exorcism. Looks like Light of Heaven chasing Resistance down. But yeah, all they need to do is just wait at the tower and try and kill the wards as fast as possible and make Flipside come with them, so that Abaddon can just sit in the back and heal, and Nyx Assassin can look for that perfect blink initiation with Impale. But Flipside already back at it. 10 seconds left on Shadow Shaman ultimate. Death Prophet ultimate 10 seconds there too, but Resistance not with their group right now. So Flipside has to be a little bit careful, but at the same time, there is not that much HP left on the tower in mid. Only 400 left.
Couple big items have been picked up now. Bristleback actually going to grab Assault Kuros after Vanguard, so that is going to help in their sort of counter-pushing efforts as well in these team fights. And also Klinks does have an Orchid now. Not sure if we've actually seen him use it, but that Midas is starting to pay off now that he's been able to get it off the courier. And just look at this, Virtus Pro completely boxing out Flipside right here. Illidan in the front lines where he should be, trying to box him out. And again, it's all about just preventing their pushing power from getting too out of control. Alchemist already forced to retreat. The Shadow Shaman going to fall before the fight even starts. Sort of a last-ditch effort. Exorcism going to be used by the Resistance as he heads for the hills, but the rest of his team just going to get scraped up here. It's going to be a 3-for-0, and Virtus Pro barely even committing. That was almost all Bristleback, man, and now Resistance going to be in a little bit of trouble here as well. They are going to dive this tower. They're hungry for blood. They don't care about those spirits coming their way. The silence is going to come, and that's going to thwart some of Illidan's efforts, but not all of them, as Abaddon throws another shield miscoil combo. That's going to be a 4-for-1 exchange. Weaver did get picked off by the Clinks in the top lane, it looks like. But as far as that mid exchange is concerned, Virtus Pro going to find the victory.
He knows that Yokio is there too. They don't actually have any sentries of their own though, so Illidan may die if Abaddon's not quick to the gun.
Yep, here we go. That tier 1 tower in the mid is going to fall, and the Clink's going to be in big trouble. Sentry comes down, no getting away from that. Now the Death Prophet going to be in trouble as well. Were some buybacks used here? Nope, just that low respawn timer. Death Prophet does survive, but Clockwork going to throw some cogs out. I think that may be the sign for Virtus Pro to kind of back up and retreat. Not only did they defend their mid tier 1 tower, but they also pushed their opponents and now actually have the tower advantage 3-2, which is, I think, a little bit unexpected here, Merlini.
Yep, showing off that fresh and shiny Assault Cuirass on Bristleback, and now the items are a little bit too much for Flipside to deal with. They still have a glyph and they will get the tower, but at the same time, momentum definitely in VP's favor right now. Even with the AC, Lincoln's on Weaver, can they really burst through this many items? Clinks only has Orchid and the Bloodstone is up on Death Prophet, but he has died quite a few times. 2 and 3 is his score right now, and yeah, that window I think has passed, and they really needed to take down the T1s a little bit earlier and then take out on Roshan and then take down the T2s with that Aegis advantage, but I don't think they're going to be able to get Roshan unless there's some sneaky play from the Clinks. Clinks has been fairly active, I guess, 4 and 2 on him. He is the kill leader on the side of Flipside, but their late game is a little bit lackluster.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, Clinks basically is their late game. They've got Death Prophet, but only so much she can do. Bloodstone is a big pickup. I think Yules would be much welcomed here in this match, though still going to be a little ways off finishing up that item. We see a little bit of pressure come in the way of Clinks here, but Bristleback, really the driving force in this game. He is 10, 3, and 5 right now. He's got 10 of the 17 kills on the side of Virtus Pro, so he is definitely starting to get a bit scary. And it looks like Alchemist is starting to take a little bit more of a farming role here. He is going to clear out the Ancients, still very low on the net worth chart overall, as he only has 1 point in Grievel's Greed. Looks like he is slowly working towards that mech, does have the Buckler now, and still, well, I guess he's about more than halfway there to the mech, but still, given that it's 23 minutes in, that is definitely a late mech. Clink's going to be deep in enemy territory here. Arzark going to scout him out. They may try and converge on him. Is there any detection around? Illidan doesn't have any. And nor does Arzart here. Oh no, pardon me, he does have some dust. So, but uh-oh, some initiation going to come out onto the Abaddon. Not going to be a good target. He is going to get hexed and then, well, poked by some cogs, but that'll be the end of the exchange. If all the heroes to bump into, Abaddon, a good one there for Virtus Pro.
Yeah, I think they could have just smoked Roche. That's kind of like the play that Flipside has to go for right now. They're down by almost 10,000 gold, and it's close to that point where they are like they've lost all their momentum and they need something to get back in the game. And they tried to smoke ink, but they found Abaddon not the right target for them. And Flipside actually used 2 smokes, one to get there and one to escape. Shadow Shaman is still smoked up. Maybe he'll be able to get a kill on this, but it's going to be very difficult to poke through that Lincoln's on Light of Heaven. And now, if Flipside ever has to like defend against a split push, then they're gonna lose the game because Illidan almost has his heart. Once he gets his heart, he's pretty much unkillable.
Yep, I think that's definitely true. Clockwork gonna come in. That is gonna be a hook shot on God. He's gonna hop out of the cogs, and now Illidan gonna engage. I think this Clockwork gonna be in big trouble. He's just gonna try and pour it out. Not gonna make it in time. There will be an impale that comes anyhow, and free kill going the way of Virtus Pro. Now gonna be 18-11 here at the 24-minute mark. Illidan continuing his domination streak. As you mentioned, he's got the Reaver, and going to be pretty damn close to grabbing that Vitality booster. Up at the top, though, Light of Heaven, in a little bit of trouble, is going to get shackled. We'll be able to Shikuchi back, or pardon me, time-lapse back, and then Shikuchi. He will get Orchided, but looks like Light of Heaven may be able to survive this one. He does have a couple of ports. So that sneaky bug going to be able to survive once again, and he's pulling a lot of the resources from Flipside. They are going to have to port back here. They don't have a glyph available in their Tier 3 tower. Already taking a lot of damage from Virtus Pro. Alchemist, going to be the one to initiate here. Again, the support coming in on the Bristleback. He is now level 16 also.
Resistance in mid.
Just spamming those abilities. Yep, in mid. Resistance. It's going to be a 2v1. He is going to burn the Exorcism. Exactly what Virtus Pro are hoping for. As soon as the ult comes out, they're just going to back up. Everyone's going to retreat. And they're just going to try to manage this cooldown rotation. Very nicely done. I like that play from Virtus Pro.
Yep, delay tactics are very useful at this point in the game. If they delay, or if they force a mass separate ward or exorcism, Flipside is unlikely to gain any momentum. They really have to use everything to try and kill Illidan. Just 600 gold away from his heart of Tarask, and once he gets that, I'm just gonna see quills fly everywhere and dead Flipside heroes everywhere too.
Yep, he is. He's a tank. He's a meat stick for sure. And just going to continue to go. We're about halfway off that recipe for the heart. So, force staff now on the Nyx Assassin. That's how he was able to hop out of the cogs. I sort of mentioned he scooted out, but he does indeed have a force staff to go with his blink, getting those mobility items. And still no other big item pickups on the side of Flipside. Alchemist still working towards what is going to be a mech, I can imagine. Something coming in on the courier. That's going to be the mech right there. Alright, so he's going to have it. That is going to be significant in this next team fight, but I'm going to venture to say maybe too little too late here at the 26-minute mark. He's going to throw a concoction. We'll proc the Lincolns onto the Weaver. And Illidan, again, just going to be in the front lines here, the place that he should be. Chipping away at this tier 2 tower in the mid lane. We can see how passive Flipside are being right here. They're trying to poke him back and chip away at his hit points, but very cautious to try and engage on that spiny bastard known as Bristleback.
Yep, now looks like Resistance is going for a little bit of armor. Chainmail, maybe into Blade Mail, but Illidan.
Yeah, Illidan in the front lines. That'll be the end of the Alchemist to start things off. The Serpent Wards will come out, going to do some good damage to the Bristleback here, and the Exorcism going to be used as well. He does a good bit of damage before he falls, but all the ulti is going to be burned. That will be enough to finish off the mighty Bristleback. He's just going to buy back. He doesn't have a care in the world. He's going to say, you know what, I'll delay my heart. I want to get back in the action and clean up these kills. Everyone's at red health, just a couple of spines, and I think I might be able to take out the trash. Arzark going to be in a little bit of trouble here. The Orchid going to come out. One more auto attack going to do it. He is going to be able to fog around the trees. The Orchid going to expire, but the great escape here, not going to happen, as Klinks does finish him off. Nyx Assassin, though, the double damage did manage to grab a kill onto Clockwork while all that was happening. 20 to 13. I think Virtus Pro still maybe not finding the better in that exchange, but yeah, still holding steady here. See the gold graph going to plateau. They will be able to take out this tier 2 tower, I think. Glyph is available, but I doubt it'll be used. We see a creep with the Aphotic Shield in the front lines. And interesting, they are going to use the Glyph to hold off this tier 2 tower. Now their mid lane going to be a little bit more difficult to defend. Even they don't have those big ultimates. We'll see initiation here in the mid lane. Alchemist with the acid spray going to come out. Baden going to get crowd controlled, but Shadow Shaman will pay with his life. Klink's going to pour it in, going to try and survive. There is a sentry down. The Mist Coil going to be used aggressively there. The mech going to come out. One more auto attack ought to do it. And there's the blink forward from God. Klinks is going to fall. No holds barred here for Virtus Pro. They have no problem diving the base. Clockwork is up, does have a hook shot. Looking for an initiation. Klinks is going to buy back. And the tower in the mid does end up falling. Don't think it was denied. So tower lead now in the favor of Virtus Pro here, furthering their lead even more, Merlini.
And Flipside's scrambling to defend their towers. Roshan, it will be the point of contest for VP. Flipside can take this fight, though. They have the cogs, and they have the Exorcism, too. Very good for fights like this, but
not going to be there in time.
Hookshot missed.
Yep, hookshot going to be off the mark, and they're going to come just a little bit too late. Aegis now going to be in the inventory of the Bristleback, and they're going to initiate onto the Death Prophet. She's not going to survive. And Light and Alchemist going to head for the heals, but they're going to get pinched. The wraparound comes, and Light will try to pour it out. Not going to happen. Bristleback going to be able to finish him off, and now Sheasley going to be pursued by the Nyx Assassin. Orchid going to come, so he won't have an impale. The concoction going to get thrown onto the Nyx Assassin as well, but Virtus Pro, again, not afraid to dive this tier 3 tower. They want to finish off this Alchemist. The blink forward from God.
These stuns by G.
Yeah, down he goes. G really playing well this match. Landing those skill shot impales like it's his job. Tier 3 now going to be under heavy assault, and I think we may be moments from a GG here. Flipside unable to handle the power of Bristle God, Bristle Boss, whatever term you want to use for him. They're all fitting here in this match. Resistance going to burn the ulti, going to try to go toe-to-toe with the team. He may be able to survive to tell the tale, is going to get mana burned, and still going to be in a little bit of trouble here. God trying to finish him off. The hookshot going to come in. Exorcism going to be enough to finish him. Yeah, that's a missed one, but gonna get a nice little bounty there for finishing off the Nyx Assassin. Regardless, the damage has been done. Mid lane Iraq's gonna fall. 26 to 14. Now Arzark gonna walk. Oh no, into the high ground. Klink's gonna be able to just obliterate him. Illidan is still alive though. Still now has the heart. Did bring it in via the courier. As you mentioned, once he grabs that heart, Assault Kuros Vanguard trio here before the 30-minute mark, he's virtually unkillable. Look at this. He's got his back turned. The mech, the support from the Abaddon inside the wards. Not a care in the world. He just wants to go back in for more. He's just going to kill these wards. Wow, this Illidan. He is one brave soldier. He is going to fall. He's got the Aegis as well. Of course, going to pop back up. And things will be difficult for Flipside with Illidan back at full health. Going to get hexed here as the wards continue to do a little bit of damage. But they're going to get cleaned up, and Virtus Pro just going to be able to casually push into this bottom lane. Perhaps. No, they are going to back up, but wow. Pretty convincing Bristleback play here.
They need to try and kind of kite the bristle back around. Just like silence him, just like cog him outside or cog him inside, hex him, and they need to kill the Abaddon because the Abaddon is just so annoying. Looks like Resistance is about to die here. He does have a Ghost Scepter, but it'll only keep him alive for so long.
Yep. Gonna buy him a little bit of time here. Hookshot gonna come in. Wow, those cogs. Gonna push Resistance out, trap the others in. Clockwork will pay with his life, but does keep his good buddy Crobulus alive. Very, very nice play right there. Gonna be a martyr for his good buddy.
Yeah, Shadow Shaman has just been countered so heavily by Nyx Assassin and Abaddon too. Like, if he casts his spells, Abaddon just shields him off, and he doesn't cast his spells, Nyx will just land an impale on him, and he'll immediately fall.
Yeah, here we see Book gonna immediately fall following that statement. Now Resistance gonna be engaged on. Is gonna burn the Exorcism here, gonna try to hold his ground. Mech is gonna be used. That bottom tier 3 tower does fall as the rest of Virtus Pro catch up and come into the mix. So even if they don't get the hero kills here, they are going to be able to grab this lane of Rax without too much trouble. Light of Heaven does have himself a Desolator, so now those quills hitting even harder on the desolated targets. Double kill coming off of the Bristleback as Clinks and Alchemist fall. Crobulus going to be able to grab a kill on the Nyx Assassin here, but well, looks like they may be able to hold Light of Heaven, possibly in a bit of trouble. Abaddon going to help keep him alive. They're going to turn. That'll be the end of the Clockwork. That Exorcism doing some serious work, but it only lasts so long. And now Resistance going to be forced to retreat to the well. They're going to buy him a little bit of time. Oh, that Frostbite right on the edge of the well. Looks like he is going to be destined to fall. The Shadow Shaman standing in the well, still going to get taken out. Not a care in the world here from Virtus Pro. Death Prophet going to commit suicide, but that's going to be a clean sweep.
Once you get Fountain Dive and 5-man wipe, it's about time for GG.
Yep.
It's about that time.
So looking at this draft, though, I mean, what can teams do to draft against the Bristleback? If we see a Bristleback picked in the early stage like we did in this match, what should the opposition be thinking to try and counter him?
They need supports that deal damage, not ones that disable. Like, someone like Rasa is not the right support for this sort of situation because he'll get hexed, and then how are you going to actually kill the Bristleback? Yeah, sure, he's disabled, but, well, he wasn't disabled in this case because they have Abaddon, but they need tankier supports, and supports maybe that can farm up 4 steps too. They also need the Yule Scepter. They needed Yules and a Mech. Mech could have come out a lot earlier on Alchemist. He didn't need treads. They just need to be able to Death Ball, which they were not able to accomplish. And Death Prophet, he went for a Bloodstone, but if he survives and all his team dies around him, it's kind of a useless item. So as far as picks go, like you said, maybe like in AA or something would be pretty good at kiting him. You need to kite his mobility somehow. Ice Vortex pretty good at doing that without you actually being in any danger. Cold Feet if he doesn't move around fast enough, and his ultimate to kind of burst through his HP pool, especially with a healer like Abaddon. So I don't know. I don't really know what the best pick is. I think it's more just good play and good movement around the map. And they kind of just let him free farm. And by the time they tried to take the T1 tower mid, he had his AC and Trez and Vanguard. And it's too much room given to a Bristleback.
Yeah, that early AC was pretty impressive. The Vanguard, okay, I can deal with that. But the AC and Vanguard combo before like the 20-minute mark was definitely a bit more than Flipsid are ready to deal with. But alas, guys, that was game 1. We do have 4 more matches coming up today. Aspera versus next.kz going to be coming up in about 10 minutes. Thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Summit. I'm Zyori. With me is Merlini. And we got plenty more Dota coming your way.